Hi everyone, this is Katya and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to share a card with you that I made because I'd like to participate in the Share Handmade Kindness challenge that Jennifer McGuire has been sharing on her blog. So this is week 2 and I missed week 1 because I didn't film a video, but this is the card I'm going to share with you for the challenge for this week. So this is a simple thanks card, but when you open up the card it says "for being you," and I didn't record that on this video, so bear with me as I share my pains and struggles on how I created this. So you'll see I just basically took some turquoise cardstock, and my intention was to get some gray ink, and I didn't have any dye ink, so the pigment ink was really messy, took a long time to dry, and I basically used some very thick stamps that I got from the My Favorite Things collection, and I just created them in random patterns around the edge of the card. And then I thought it would really be fun to take my Zig glue pen and draw lines there, dry it with my heat gun, and then apply some foil to it just to kind of add a little bit of bling. And I did learn some things along the way, that the glue is really challenging to work with in certain spots. So it does get a little bit messy, and I think what I will probably try next time is using some sticky embossing powder that is sold by Ranger. I believe that's the company that makes it. But I really like the effect that this gave. And my intention, see that white piece there? My intention was to take that piece up and put a sentiment right down on that area without having the crisscross stripes go through. But when I was working on it, I realized that the ink transferred directly to the underpiece of that card with a little black ink, with a little darker ink, because I used a stitch die. So you'll see here what I mean in a minute. So it sees as I lift that paper, it leaves a little bit of residue on the paper. So each time I was going, instead of a ruler, I just used another clean piece of cardstock, and that seemed to help a little bit. You could also freehand this as well. I found it a little bit easier just to kind of wipe off the glue from the paper and then go that direction. So you can see here I keep heat setting that and drying, and I also go in the opposite direction to kind of give it a little bit more pizzazz, to kind of have the silver carry through all over the card. So this is where I decided to go in the opposite direction by taking another piece of cardstock, and you can see how it sticks there a little bit. And that's what I was saying. Other people might want to try taking some very thin strips of tape, double-sided tape. So the way to get it really thin, I think, would be helpful to put on a blank sheet of label adhesive sheets for labels. Once your labels are all done, you could use that label sheet to get your tape to be very thin. So you'll see me struggle here a little bit when I was putting down some of the silver foil. It just got really sticky everywhere, and I got a little frustrated. But, you know, in the end, it turned out pretty, I think. So here is the final card, almost in its final stages, where I peel off the mask paper there. And I would have saved it, except it's regular copy paper, so not really worth saving on a piece like that. And this is where I saw the little dotted lines that I used that actually transferred the ink over to the cardstock, and I didn't want that. In hindsight, what I could have done was left that alone and drawn an inside border using a black pen. But I didn't think about that at the time, so I decided to use some glittery cardstock here and place another die directly in the middle to make my thanks stand out. What I didn't do was use the vellum. I decided to go with a piece of white cardstock because I really wanted my thanks to stand out and pop up really nicely against that white border. So I'm going to adhere that down with my glue pen, and you'll see me stick that onto the front there using my fabulous tweezers that help me line things up perfectly, especially when your glue is wet and sticky. So grabbing my trusty tweezers there, I'm positioning that into the center of the white stitched border. I should say white stitched panel there, the smaller piece. And I think I got the framing around that perfectly because I only wanted a thin piece of that to show. And then using a block there, I decided to just kind of put that down until the glue dried. And then I wanted a white border on the very edge of my card to make that cardstock with the plaid print completely pop, and I think it did a great job doing that because it was a pain to work on. And then using one of my Spectrum Noir pens, I decided I wanted a specific color of the pink, so I grabbed that I believe it was CR11 there, and colored in and punched out a simple heart. And I adhered that right next to the end of the card and topped it with some Wink of Stella and Glossy Accents. So you're probably wondering if your eyes are playing tricks on you, but no, they're not. The cardstock that I used to do this particular die cut, the Thanks die, I had to rescue this card because I made a mistake on the front, and I decided to just cut another die cut piece and put it directly on top and redo the whole thing. So it is finished, and I hope you enjoyed this card. Thanks for stopping by and subscribing. Ciao for now.